27-year-old female is found deceased with 20 stab wounds to her body. Investigators have ruled her death as suicide, but her family doesn't agree. They believe something far more nefarious occurred. If you like our videos, please subscribe, like, and share. It really helps us grow. Now, let's get into it. Ellen Greenberg, suicide or murder? On January 26, 2011, first-grade teacher Ellen Ray Greenberg left work early after classes had been canceled on account of winter weather. With a snowstorm on its way, Ellen returned to the Philadelphia apartment she shared with her fiancé, Sam Goldberg. After finishing an afternoon workout at the gym located within the same building as their apartment, Sam returned home to find his 27-year-old fiancé's lifeless body. He discovered Ellen in their kitchen with a knife lodged in her chest, 20 stab wounds on her head, neck, and torso, and a gash on the back of her head. There were no signs of forced entry. The windows and doors had been locked, with the door's interior swing bar still latched. Security footage did not capture any suspicious individuals on the property at this time. Sam Goldberg also confirmed that none of the couple's belongings had been stolen. Ellen Goldberg's body did not appear to have any defensive wounds, and no DNA or trace evidence was found on her body, clothing, or the knife itself. Because of these factors, investigators began working the case as a suicide. The cause of death was changed to a homicide after an examination by the medical examiner. However, after investigating further, the medical examiner would revert the cause of death back to a suicide, determining that Ellen had taken her own life. Now, before we draw our own conclusions, let's take a step back and dive a little deeper into the facts. Ellen's parents, Joshua and Sandra Greenberg, told the Philadelphia Inquirer that something terrible has happened to Ellie, and feel that the possibility of Ellen's death being a homicide should be explored further. We have no way of knowing her mental state at the time, but she was seeing a psychiatrist for anxiety. She had been prescribed Klonopin to treat her anxiety, as well as Ambien to help her sleep. Both of these medications list suicide ideations as a potential side effect. When speaking to her psychiatrist, Ellen explained that her anxiety issues were a result of work and not her private life. Her psychiatrist also told investigators that she never expressed any suicidal thoughts, and when speaking about her relationship with Sam, Ellen always smiled and was happy. She never showed any signs of being in an abusive relationship. Police will always look at family and loved ones first as potential suspects in homicide cases. When her fiancé, Sam Goldberg, returned home from the gym, he was unable to enter the apartment due to the swing bar being latched. He told investigators that he knocked and shouted for Ellen to come and unlock the door. Becoming frustrated, he then began sending her text messages. "Open the door. I'm getting pissed. You better have an excuse." Eventually, Sam would seek assistance from the building's security guard, who helped Sam force his way into the apartment. Sam's text message history and the security guard's statement as an eyewitness corroborate what Sam has told investigators. On January 26, 2011, Ellen had gone to work just as she had done countless times before. Having her afternoon classes canceled due to weather was not something she could have predicted or planned for. On her way home, Ellen stopped for gas and filled her tank. Ellen's parents questioned why she would fill up her gas tank if she was planning to take her own life. Ellen had recently sent out save-the-date wedding invitations that were being received by loved ones only days before her death. Again, her parents questioned why a person with suicidal thoughts would be planning a wedding. It is also worth noting that the medical examination did not find any other drugs in her system other than the medications she had been prescribed. The medical examiner changed the cause of death back to a suicide, not because of medical evidence, but rather a lack of evidence on the body and at the scene of the incident. Without signs of forced entry, DNA or trace evidence, defensive wounds, missing property, and security footage showing nothing out of the ordinary, the medical examiner's office did not feel there was sufficient evidence to rule Ellen's cause of death a homicide. The initial forensic search of Ellen's laptop's history did not contain anything indicative of suicide. The Greenbergs also believed their daughter would have left a note explaining her motives if she had in fact decided to end her life. The only other entrance to the apartment was a door leading to a 6th-floor exterior balcony. Due to the snowfall, investigators were able to determine that no one had been outside on the balcony. as the freshly fallen snow had not been disturbed. But security footage only provided a view of the exterior of the building. There is no footage from in front of the apartment door or the hallway leading to the door. Her parents theorized that the lack of defensive wounds could be explained by the gash on the back of Ellen's head. If she was attacked, she may have been unconscious for a majority of the time an intruder was present. The knife block in the kitchen was found turned on its side, which could indicate that a struggle took place before Ellen had been knocked unconscious. Also in the kitchen, investigators found a sliced orange and blueberries sitting in a strainer as Ellen was preparing a fruit salad before her death. Again, her parents questioned why a person would end their life in the middle of preparing a meal. In 2017, the Greenbergs sent the case file and autopsy results to outside experts. They concluded that the evidence found is consistent with a homicide. Ellen's body was found slumped forward in her kitchen, yet there was a blood stain running horizontally across her cheek from her nose towards her left ear. Defying gravity, this implies that Ellen had moved herself, or someone else moved her, as the blood path should have run vertical. A neuropathology report could not be found with the original autopsy, but a specimen of Ellen's spinal cord was found. After an examination by an independent medical expert, they determined that her spinal cord had been partially severed, contradicting the initial autopsy report stating her spinal cord was intact. An injury of this kind would cause severe pain and even loss of consciousness. The stab wounds went through the clothing Ellen was wearing at the time. In almost all cases, those committing suicide by knife lift up their clothes. They do not wound themselves through their clothes, and rarely, if ever, leave a knife plunged into their chest. The Greenbergs' independent investigation also found online videos instructing viewers how to easily close a swing bar lock from the other side of the door. Joshua and Sandra have never been satisfied with the investigation into their daughter's death. They have spent the following years searching for definitive answers and pushing law enforcement and the courts to investigate further. However, they have been denied at every level. In 2019, the Attorney General's office stated that it considers the case closed. They released a report of their forensic search of Ellen's laptop, showing a search history that included terms such as painless suicide. But to the Greenbergs, this is yet another contradiction of what was found in the original investigation, and their daughter's suicide would have been far from painless. In December 2021, the Attorney General's office announced it's reviewing the case for the first time in years after the discovery of new evidence. An expert recently concluded that at least one of the stab wounds on Ellen's body showed no signs of bleeding or hemorrhaging. This can only occur in post-mortem wounds. Will this new evidence give Joshua and Sandra Greenberg the definitive answers they are still searching for? This is the most recent update as of the time of this video's publication. There appears to be strong evidence to support both suicide and homicide. This is a very difficult case to assess. We want to hear what you think. Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.